Hello and welcome back to the Contemplation Cafe. This is Paul, your host, as always, inviting you to come inside, pull up a chair, and have a think or two. And today's lesson is coming from the School of Hard Knocks. Because, see the gray hair? I've had a few of the hard knocks, so I think I'm in a good spot to be able to share some of that. So maybe you won't get knocked around quite so much. So today's lesson from the School of Hard Knocks is knowing your audience. That's a very important thing. And it doesn't matter if you're a school teacher or the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. You find that you interact with a lot of different people in a lot of different settings all throughout your day. And the important part of communication is knowing your audience, knowing who you're talking to, where they're coming from, what their background is, what their education is. Their age sometimes plays a part in all that as well. And I like to share two examples from my own life. One started out kind of cruddy, but had a happy ending. And another one, just a funsy thing that I did that I turned out to be pretty huge. So let's get on with the bad one first. Years ago, I had put in for a promotional opportunity in the insurance world, and this was my second job. So I worked a day job in a different field completely, and I'm working in insurance at night. It makes me really weird. But that's okay, because we need the weird people in life. I'm a nerd and proud of it. So anyways, get into the interview, and they start asking me these competency-based questions. Tell us about a time when you, or can you give us a situation when, and how did you handle it? And unfortunately, the role that I had with the insurance company, I didn't do any of those things. And I didn't have any of that experience because what I did there was very limited in its scope. So I had to draw heavily on my experience from my day job. Well, the problem is I worked in a completely different field. And so then I would put on my day job hat and start giving them stories of day job stuff. And I would use all my day job words. And come to find out that when I used my day job words, that just kind of went over the head of all the people that were on the interview panel. So it really didn't matter how valid my experience was or how applicable it was to the question at hand, because I wasn't able to speak their language. I didn't put it in terms they understood. Totally blew the interview. So I got the feedback back, and I was not happy about that. So I humbled myself, and I said, okay, then prep me, coach me, so when the next opportunity comes, I can be competitive and successful. And sure as shooting, I worked with two different supervisors, and I literally, in some of the things, they gave me a list of vocabulary words, and I would sit down, I would write the definition of those words, and I would study them over and over and over and over again. And so that way, when it came time for another interview, if there was one, I could pull those out and use those words to communicate my experience, whether it was on this job or my day job, whatever, to the situation or the question at hand. Sure as shooting, probably about a year or so went by, and an opportunity came up for a sales position. I interviewed. I totally dominated the interview because I was indeed able to use the correct vocabulary words for the people that I was talking to and was able to make all my stories relatable, and got the job and was very successful in that role for several years. So that's the good one. Now on the other side, what I currently do, I work in an environmental lab, and we do a lot of testing for the utilities, drinking water, wastewater, solid waste, the river that we sometimes discharge into, groundwater, solid fuel. So there's a lot of testing that we do. And as a municipal utility, we also reach out to the community. We involve them. We have lab tours that go on. And so I can have elementary school kids all the way up to some more seasoned individuals. And so I have to know who I'm talking to when I give this tour, depending who's coming in the building, where they're coming from, what's their background. So if it's a bunch of college kids that are doing science stuff, I can be a little more sciencey and nerdy, and that's cool. But if it's elementary school kids, or maybe the more seasoned people, I have to shift that up so I still get across the science without being sciencey. And we had to do a lab video recently, and my tours normally last about 45 minutes. And I said, yeah, we want to do this and this and this and this. And the director said, nope, you got 10 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, how in the world am I going to condense 45 minutes of demonstrations and all this talking into 10 minutes? And as I was pondering that, or contemplating, I was thinking about metals. And metals are very easy because when typically you say the name of a metal like gold, you get an image in your mind instantly of what gold is. It's a gold brick, a gold bar, a gold coin, gold teeth, irons like dumbbells and barbells. Lead bullets, graphite, but pencil lead, best graphite. So it hit me. Hey, wait a minute. I should do that for the entire lab and make everything we do a picture. And so sure enough, I was able to go through and put a bunch of images together. So for example, when we were in organics, I didn't have to tell people that we tested for benzene, toluene, ethylbenzene, and xylene. I simply said, we test for things you find in gasoline. I got across the science without being sciencey. It was very, very visual. And so it actually ended up appealing to a very broad section of people who'd be watching it. So whether it was school kids or the more seasoned folks, but because I was able to communicate what we did in a way that reached a broad audience. So it's something that would connect with them by using real world objects that people identify with. I was able to get that across. So I just wanted to share a couple of real life experiences to help you in your progress of knowing your audience. Because, at the end of it all, right, we work on becoming the best us that we can be. And in the process of us becoming the best us that we can be, we should then turn around and help others become the best them that they can be. That's a thing called leaving your campsite better than what you found it if you were in the Boy Scouts. That's all we have for today. So until next time, this is the Contemplation Cafe saying thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again next time.